All right. Let's get back to it. Welcome back to the channel. This is a glorious day for world football. Why, you ask? Because we got two marquee matchups on the docket this afternoon, this evening. These are two great games, and I'm so excited to talk about these two games, to watch these two games, and to see what happens here as this World Cup progresses to its closing stages. But we got these two world a round of 16 matchups taking place today. And I really truly believe that these are two marquee matchups. This is big time right here. So this is really exciting stuff. I think there's a lot of people that are getting excited about this World Cup. I got a lot of my buddies that I grew up with all of a sudden reaching out to me and saying, "Hey, Al, you know what? You knew what the hell you were talking about. This soccer is really something to behold here." And I'm like, "I told you so. I told you so." If you actually watch this game, there's a lot of ignorant and arrogant Americans that just don't realize the amount of action that's involved in the game of football, in the game of soccer, whatever the hell you want to call it. This game is full of action. It's full of it's just so compelling. Okay, I love this game. It's one of the best games, if not the best game in the world. In my opinion, it actually is the best game in the world. It's so fun to watch. It's so compelling. But we got two matchups just to kind of rehash on what happened yesterday. We went 1 for 2. Again, we were close to going, 100% on these bets, but we got the first matchup. We didn't get the second one. That's okay. We come back today and we try to go 2 for 2 and try to do our best. And what I've done today is actually try to give you two bets where you got big time plus money. So I'm swinging for the fences on these ones here today. This isn't conservative betting that we're talking about. I'm trying to give you two bets. So just keep that in mind when you look at these bets. These are risky bets that I have on the table today, but I think they both have a good chance of hitting. I got them both 4 out of 5 stars, and I like both of them. So we'll see. Like I said, these are two marquee matchups. Just get your popcorn ready and let's go ahead and get started. All right, in this first matchup, we have the Seleção of Brazil going up against the Vikings of Norway. And I had mentioned how both of these matchups are truly marquee matchups in this World Cup. It's hard to say which one is more box office, okay? But in terms of my own personal investment, I probably go with the later game just because I back England. Those are my kinsmen. That's where my family comes from, and so forth. And I do have family that's Mexican as well, so there's a lot of investment in that game. But in terms of actual box office, I'd have to go with this one. This is the one that has superstars all over the pitch with Vinicius Jr., with Rafinha, with just Neymar, and then you have, you know, Erling Haaland on the other side, Martin Odegaard, Sorla, so on and so forth, and of course that wonderful Norwegian um, fan backing that has been all over the news and media throughout this World Cup. Of course, the Brazilian fans are always there as well in bunches. So I think this is going to be a really unique matchup. You got a Norway side that's really never been in this position. They've never been to the quarterfinals, so they're playing for their first chance to advance to quarterfinals in a major competition, I believe. Maybe not a major competition. I apologize for my ignorance in that regard, but definitely in a World Cup, never advanced to the quarterfinals. Of course, Brazil, as we know it, these are the 6-time world champions. They have more World Cups than anyone else, but with that being said, over the last, 4 World Cups, it's been kind of a disappointment for them. Even 5 World Cups, it's been kind of a disappointment for them and their fans. And I think, leading up to this World Cup, I don't think there was a lot of expectations for this squad, at least from the outside. Maybe internally, yes. Okay, but this is a team that has kind of disappointed in qualifying in other competitions in the Copa America in 2024. They just haven't looked great. They haven't had that. Of course, Vinny. Junior is a superstar in his own right, but he's not on the level of someone like a Neymar, someone like a Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, so forth, Pele, all these stars that came before him, Brazilian stars that came before him that led their teams and had the ability to lead their teams to the World Cup. And I'm not saying Vinny is not that guy. We'll just have to see. I'm not sure he's on that level, but what's the need for comparisons in the first place? This Brazilian side has had its struggles leading up to this matchup. I wouldn't say they struggled a lot, but wouldn't say that they've looked like world beaters either. They've struggled to score at times, for all the marvelous dribbling and passes and this and that. This is a team that still does struggle to score on a consistent basis, especially against top tier competition. Is Norway top tier competition? I think they're definitely getting there. I think they're close to being that. They're definitely someone that we're keeping an eye out for because they have players like Holland. They have players like Martin Odegaard who are able to get balls into the box, and they're going to have to play on the counterattack in this game, and they've shown an ability to be able to do that when necessary. So I can see both teams scoring in this game. So Erling Haaland is a threat in many different ways in the box to be able to score. He could score in a number of different ways, headers, um, you know. Finesse shots, as we've seen in the game the other day, and then also, um, he can bullet one in there as well. So and then you have a player like Sorloth, Alexander Sorloth, who on any other team would be a superstar striker for that squad. And then Odegaard is always capable to get a ball into the box or shoot one from outside the box. He's I would say their leader. So this is going to be a closely contested competition. I think a lot of people are even trying to get that value by putting money on Norway, and I don't blame them. Norway can absolutely win this game. However, what I like to see Brazil come through in the end, both teams to score and Brazil on the money line. I just think Brazil is going to have a little bit too much with their possession and their chances that they create, that they're going to be able to squeeze a couple in there against this Norway side, where if we were to look at the weakness of this team, it probably would be on their back line. So, but the same can be said for Brazil. They've looked a little shaky in the back as well. So yeah, I'm going to go Brazil on the money line and both teams to score, but I wouldn't be surprised to see this game go either way. All right, last game up, we got Mexico going up against the Three Lions of England, and I can't wait to watch this matchup. I can't wait to watch either one of these matchups, but this one is the later game. I really, really am vested in this one. And I tell you what, I like both sides, and I like the fan bases from both sides. I have attachments to both sides because I do have a lot of family down in Texas that's half Mexican and things of that sort. So if Mexico ends up winning this matchup, I wouldn't be mad about it. Um, they deserve it. They've played so well throughout this tournament, so well. I mean, I thought out of all the sides coming out of the CONCACAF Confederation and all the host countries that Mexico was the best team altogether, and that they seemed like the most cohesive unit. They just seemed like they were playing as one. They understood, that. What they were trying to accomplish was more than the individual motivations and aspirations of the individual players. They were playing as a team, and this was something that's extremely important to them to show the world, that this Mexican side and and Mexico as a country is a footballing nation, and that it's a proud nation. And I appreciate what they've done. They looked so good against Ecuador in a match where I was on the side of Ecuador. I thought there was going to be under 2.5 goals, but I was on the side of Ecuador just because I think I got caught up in the hype. Not that Ecuador has played well in this tournament, but pre-tournament, the hype around Ecuador that they were kind of just going to pull things together after that game against Germany. At any rate, Mexico put that to bed like in a very, very demonstrative manner, coming out swinging 1-0. 2-0, and finally finishing up that game 3-0. It wasn't even close. Ecuador brought nothing to the table, and Mexico brought everything to the table, and their ability to get balls into the box, and for their strikers to be able to create with that shot from distance from Quinones, and the moves in the box that we're all Jimenez was putting down. This is a team that has two strikers, two center forwards there in Quinones, who's actually playing on the left sides out wide, who really is a nine, a natural nine, but who's playing as a winger in this matchup. And then just the rest of the team, their defense is so solid, their midfield so solid, and being able to win those second balls, being able to get the ball to their wide players, get the balls to the crosses in and things of that nature. So, and on the other side, we have an England side that pretty much, is same thing that we've seen throughout the last 2 to 3 years from this English side. They get balls into with crosses and things of that nature, but they just aren't able to score on a consistent basis unless it's Harry Kane doing it. If it wasn't for Harry Kane, this team would already be out of this competition. Okay, they would have lost to DR Congo, and fair play to DR Congo. They had every chance to win that game, and if it wasn't for the heroics of Harry Kane, they wouldn't have won this game. My hope and my thinking on this is that was the wake up call um, for this English side, who will get slaughtered in their media if they come home with only a round of 16 appearance. They need to at least make it to the quarterfinals. And I'm not saying that's what's most important. I think this team has woken up and they kind of understand what they need to do, but this is going to be a battle. Okay, I would expect England to control most of the possession and get those crosses in. They need to get the ball and get some service to Harry Kane. And Harry Kane needs to do his magic with the headers and the power shots that he does, and just get in there, maybe try to draw a penalty, things of that nature. And then watch out for Mexico on the counterattack, because they absolutely can score, and that was proven by that play from Quinones, where he was able to get behind the defender in his own half, no offside, and was able to get a ton of green space in front of him, where he was able to go ahead and score on that long shot from the left side. So, dangerous matchup for Mexico, dangerous matchup for England, to be for sure. I just see England with their pedigree being able to overcome this matchup. Now, the altitude there, playing in Mexico City, that England's going to be at a major disadvantage. So, listen, this seems almost blasphemous, because when teams do come to Mexico, like we see this in the CONCACAF Champions Cup, we see this in in the Leagues Cup, when MLS plays against Liga MX. When teams come to Mexico, they usually lose. Okay, but this is England coming to Mexico. But 90% of the time, when a team comes to Mexico and they play against the Mexican side, they lose. They do not win that game, and it's not even close. That's why I'm going to pick England to qualify, to advance. I'm not going to pick them to win on the money line. This is going to be a really, really close game. That's why I'm also taking England to advance plus Mexico +2. So if they do win, they only win by one goal. If they tie, we're still good. We just need England to advance. You get that at plus money. That's going to be my take. But I would not be surprised if Mexico wins this match. All right, that's all I got for you. Good luck with the games today. I hope you had a good 4th of July. Of course, as always, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please do hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to get videos out every day. I know they're late, but I'm doing the best I can. And then, like the video, comment down below. Let me know what you think. If you think I'm a fool, you think I'm an idiot, you're fading me, let me know. Comment down below. Let me get a little bit of uh, participation, or whatever you call it. I don't know what the hell they call it. Interactivity, whatever, on these videos. Comment down below, like the video, subscribe, and we'll see you tomorrow. Good luck. Bye bye.